Good morning, guys, from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
So a lot of you guys have been asking, why did we choose to travel to Brazil during COVID-19?
Especially at this time when there are about 6 million cases here. So Brazil has been hit very hard, one of the hardest in the world. But we still decided to come here. So we just wanted to talk about that.
So in this video, we're going to be talking about why we chose Brazil. There were a lot of factors that went into this decision, and we're going to share them with you. There are so many good things we can say about Brazil, but real quick, just a few. The food is amazing. The people are so friendly and welcoming.
The sun is shining. It's beautiful out.
And Brazil is super diverse. So they have mountains, they have rainforests, they have beaches, they have hiking, they have culture. It's great.
People are all having fun every day here. They're living their lives, loving it, and we are too. So happy to be here. So we've gotten a little bit of backlash because we are traveling right now, and especially because we're traveling to Brazil, where most people in the world know that it's been hit pretty hard. And so we just wanted to address that. There are several reasons why we came to Brazil and why we're traveling right now. The first is jobs. It's my job to travel and create content. That's what I do and what I've been doing for a few years. And so if I went home and I stopped doing this because of COVID, I wouldn't have a job. And it would have been fine maybe for a month or two, but nobody knows how long this is going to continue. And I just can't sit home with no job and no nothing.
And the US actually has more cases than Brazil, so staying home wouldn't really help the COVID situation for us. And I quit my job. I am a nurse, but I stopped working temporarily to travel. So now's not really the time to pick up a nursing job with COVID and everything. And Alex has to travel and we're in a relationship. So it seems like the right thing to do is to travel.
So next, documenting this thing just happened to kind of fall in our laps. We started a trip in South America 10 months ago, before the pandemic really started around the world, and we got stuck in Peru. We continued to make videos almost daily while we were in Peru, documenting the whole experience. We kind of grew an audience that was really interested in seeing what was going on in the world right now, because a lot of people are stuck at home. So we're people that are able to do that because we have a camera and we already film our travels. So we know that we're not journalists, but that's kind of what we're doing, is just journaling, documenting what we're doing right now and what's going on wherever we go. People seem to be interested in that, so we're going to continue showing you that.
So third reason we chose Brazil. So because of COVID, there's not a lot of countries that are open for travel, especially to the US. Brazil was one of the few countries that allowed us to enter without really any requirements. We didn't have to have a negative COVID test, we didn't have to do any sort of paperwork, nothing like that. So we had limited options. We are excited about Brazil, but due to the high COVID cases, maybe it wouldn't have been our first choice. So while we're on the topic of talking about which countries were allowing us in, it's kind of interesting because first we had decided on Turkey. We were super excited about Turkey. We even booked a flight, and then we figured out that they weren't allowing tourists from America in because of terroristic threats. So we weren't able to go.
So we scrapped that idea and then we ended up deciding on Mexico. We actually tried to book a flight to Mexico and it didn't work because it was through a weird third-party website. It didn't go through. And then we booked it again and it didn't seem like it worked, but it actually worked because it went to the spam folder in my email, but I didn't see it. But that was also a really weird situation with a weird website. And so we got that refunded.
Yeah, so what happened is Alex tried to book the Mexico flight for the second time. We didn't think it went through again, so we're like, oh, this isn't working. Then we figured out, let's do Brazil. Brazil sounds great. Then we booked a flight to Brazil that same day. Later find out that Alex did book the flight to Mexico. The email confirmation went to his spam, so he never saw it. So then we had to cancel one of the flights. You have 24 hours in the US to cancel any flight that you book, so we decided to cancel Mexico because we were just there.
The thing is, we've gone to Mexico with each other a few times now, just because it was on the way to other places and stuff. So we were like, we should go to Brazil. It's a new country we've both never been to. we keep going back to Mexico. We're sure we'll be back there again, and so maybe we should do Brazil. But yeah, we had already booked it, and things just kept not working out. It was not easy. It's not easy traveling during COVID, even just planning it, making it happen.
Yeah.
Our other options were like some in Eastern Europe. There was Albania, Croatia, places
Greece,
like that.
yeah.
Greece maybe. But for some of those, you had to quarantine for 2 weeks or up to like a month, it looked like sometimes. And that just was not going to be a part of our travels, being stuck in a hotel room for 2 weeks, because that's enough time to see part of a country.
Yeah,
So,
and then the other thing was some required negative COVID tests and results within
72 hours
Yeah.
or 48 hours
Which-
before getting to your destination.
I don't even know how that works, because sometimes results take like a week, so I don't know like how
Yeah.
that would even work.
And if you miss flights or at a layover where you miss something and it ends up taking longer, what would happen?
Yeah.
Your results would be too late. Because of all those reasons, we only had a few countries to really choose from. It was like Mexico and Brazil at that point. So
Yep,
we went to Brazil.
and we're happy about it. Our other options after this, we don't know what they're gonna be, but we'll be in Brazil for a bit, maybe a month or two, and then we'll see what's in store next.
Another reason that we're traveling right now is we were just in the United States. We were home, but at home it isn't any better than it is in these other countries. It's actually getting worse. Cases are at an all-time high, and so being home wasn't really that safe of an option in itself.
Yeah, sorry, what?
People are getting infected there as well. So whether we're traveling or staying home, we probably would have maybe gotten it anyway.
Okay, we're gonna
sit
sit
here.
down and take off our masks and talk to you guys because there's no one around.
Ooh.
And we're tired from walking. While we were home in Minnesota, we were starting to hear of a lot more people that we knew, friends of friends, who were actually getting COVID, and it was actually getting closer and closer to us. Not good.
Yeah, so I'm from California, and that was kind of a hot spot for a while because there are a lot of people there. And then somehow where Lindsay's from and where we just were last month, that kind of became a hot spot, or at least
Wisconsin, right next to
the
Minnesota.
states, yeah, the states right next to it. And so it seemed like it was just following us wherever we were going. So it was either sit at home without jobs for possibly a year, doing nothing and possibly getting infected anyway, or continue doing this job and seeing things and documenting it for you guys, and showing our audience some things that they would really like to see, and documenting what's going on in the world right now.
And for those of you who are wondering why we didn't do US travel, the US is great in many ways for traveling, but we tried to make a few videos in the US, and it seems like maybe some of you weren't that interested in it. I know there were some that were, which we appreciate, but we've kind of grown an international audience to some extent, so
Yeah,
it made it hard.
That's kind of a hard thing with YouTube. Sometimes you have to go to some destinations that people care about more, or else you don't have a job. You don't have anything to do anymore. What's the point of making these videos if not many people watch them?
Also, US travel is super expensive, so if we were going to keep doing that, we would have had to invest in a van to do van life, which a van isn't cheap either. So we had to consider a lot of factors when choosing our destination. Hopefully after we explain some of this, it'll make a lot more sense to you guys. I just thought of another reason. So right now in the US, it's wintertime. In Minnesota, it's extremely cold and snowing, and I don't really love winter.
And that leads to flu season, and people keep thinking during flu season that's when cases are really going to spike. And so it's probably better to be in a warm tropical climate like this as far as the growth of cases go. We don't know if that's true or not, but it could have something to do with it.
So Brazil has been great so far. It's a relatively cheap country. It's warm. The people have been very friendly and welcoming. Safety is, I mean, we've felt safe for the most part, but we do have to be aware of our surroundings.
That's why we're filming on a GoPro, a very, very small camera. We're not able to film on my new camera, which I love. We haven't been able to in Brazil yet, just because I can't get that taken. Because that happens, theft happens around here. It's not the safest as far as coronavirus goes, but we didn't have many options. We are happy with our decision. Brazil has been great so far, and we're going to continue documenting the coronavirus situation as well as just our everyday travels for you daily. We've switched to daily, so come back tomorrow
at 12:30 Cusco, Peru time.
And if you're in Brazil, 2:30 p.m. every day.
Although I think there are some regions that have different times, but
Oh yeah, maybe.
it's 12:30 Cusco, Peru time, so you'll have to do the conversion.
But we'll be here every day, so just come on to YouTube and look for us, and we'll be here.
Thank you for watching. We hope that this video helped you have more of an understanding of why we are choosing what we're choosing.
And we will see you in the next video tomorrow.